Hi everyone. How's your daily routine going? You write code, right? Well, maybe not as often as you would think. Let's look into what we are actually doing throughout the day and how RustRover, a dedicated Rust IDE from JetBrains, can make a difference. I'm Vitaly Bragilevsky, a developer advocate at JetBrains. For a couple of decades now, I've been teaching and talking about software development, helping developers build great things and skills. Now, let's take a look at this pie chart. This data gathered at Microsoft 5 or 6 years ago shows how software developers typically spend their time at work. Development-heavy tasks surprisingly take up only about half of the day. The rest is filled with collaboration, planning, and other tasks. Now, in that coding-heavy blue segment of the chart, we are mostly working inside an IDE. We read and write code, implement new features, refactor, fix bugs, add and run tests, review code, write documentation, all that good stuff. Spending so much time in one tool means it really has to be a great one, right? So let's look at how RustRover can help make all those tasks smoother and more productive. RustRover is free for non-commercial use, so everyone can easily try it. All right, let's look at this Bevy project opened in RustRover. When you first open a folder with a larger project, it takes some time to figure out what's in there. So RustRover reads all the information about dependencies, gathers it, it also indexes your source files, but all this stuff is extremely important because it gives you an ability to quickly navigate throughout your project. When you start exploring a project, you first look at the project view, and here you can see all the files, folders, but also you can see external libraries, and you can even access source code for them. For example, we can go right here and find some code in project view, and then of course you can open it. So if you are interested in the Cargo project itself, we also have Cargo tool window. Here you can see targets. These are examples for Bevy engine. You can run them right from here, but there are also all the crates that are parts of Bevy project. You can add new crates, you can remove something, and there are other options here as well. Now, if you are focusing on source code, then you can look at it in the editor. And well, this file is relatively small, so let's look at something larger to see how Explorer can help to understand the content of the file, right? I have one useful feature here. So I have bookmarks in this code base, so we can easily navigate to several different files which I prepared for you. And this feature is actually very useful when you have large code base and you regularly go to one file or another. It's the fastest way to go whenever you want to go. I will show you this pipeline.rs file. It's very large, like more than 500 lines of code. But you see this view. It is actually folded. So large file, but only 2 screens. And if you are interested in some structure, for example, you can easily look at it. And then you don't even have to expand because we show this nice window with full content. So this is one way of looking at your file. You just use folding and then collapse all. Or you can expand all, and now it's your regular file with all the content here. One other option to look at this file is to use structure window. Once again, you have like a summary overview of this file. You can see structures, fields, you can see some functions. You can easily navigate to any function to see its content, right? So this allows you to go to look at your file like from above, to get the full picture of the content, and then you can focus on some particular code fragment. One other example, once again, I'm using my bookmark to show you. So here, like we have some example, and there is a linear RGBA. We can look at documentation. We can also follow the definition. So now we know that it's really a structure. All right. So we can go back, and maybe we might be curious where this thing is used. We can easily find usages, and now, like for example, in this function call, let's find some example of usage like this one. All right, so here we quickly found this way, right? So this is an idea of how you can explore your project. And you see it's a large project, but you can instantly go to whenever you want to. You see, RustRover is very helpful in exploring, but what about writing new code? Let's do that next. Okay, for the next part of this talk, I have this new project just created in RustRover. You see that there is only Hello World application in it. So how do we usually start new projects? One example. So we can paste code from somewhere. I have a code of simple asynchronous application with Tokyo, which I got from the documentation. Let me paste it right here. Look, this example features Tokyo, and RustRover is able to recognize that. So here we have a suggestion to add this dependency to our Kaggle.toml file. Okay, thank you very much. Let's add it. There are still some issues with our code. For example, we see that this main is not known. So one suggestion here is to add required feature. This is so-called quick fix provided by RustRover. Okay, let's add it. One more update. So we are recompiling this project, and as a result, we get this. Looks like everything works. We can even try to run it, and we see that it is really working application here in RustRover. All right, what if we want something else? Like I don't want to write Tokyo application from scratch, but maybe I want to start with developing some web backend application. In RustRover, we have so-called AI assistant, which requires separate subscription, but still it's part of RustRover. So let me create new chat, and I'll just ask something like this, like give me an example of, well, let's say Actix web application. So that's one of popular crates for developing web applications in Rust. So, and I'm getting a lot of suggestions here, right? So for example, I think I'll need to update my dependencies, of course. Let's do that. So I'm editing Kaggle.toml file, right? And then adding this code. Well, I'll just, I think I'll just add everything and replace whatever I have here. Okay, is it working now? Well, let's try to run it. At this point, we should think how we are going to test our application, right? So usually, if it's a web backend application, like it looks like it works. Usually, we start browser, open this URL, and check if it works. Here in RustRover, we have a better solution. We have so-called HTTP client. So I usually run it this way. So I'm using search everywhere, HTTP client. So I'm already right there. So let's create a new HTTP request. And it's very simple. I believe we use 8080 port. We don't need any path. And I think we should expect something like plain text, right? Now our application is working. We initiate this request, and here is our result. So it really works, and we don't have to leave RustRover to test our API. In fact, we can do a lot of stuff right here. We can implement tests for results. We can do anything. So we can also import collections of requests from some other applications. So HTTP client is extremely powerful when it comes to testing and developing web backend applications. Right. Well, so this is an example of how we write code. Okay, and what we see, so we have HTTP client to issue requests. We have AI assistant to come up with some suggestions. We also have some quick fixes if we need to change something like adding features to dependency. We already saw that. Now let's think about debugging. What if we want to debug this call? Let me put a breakpoint at this line. Now I will stop this application and run it again using debug mode. Same application in debug mode. And now I need to issue yet another request. Okay, let's go to HTTP client, issue a request. All right, and now we are in the middle of debugging session, right? So look, we are in this function. We can explore where it is actually called. This is something like inside our library. All right. So if we have some variables, we can look at them right here, or we can evaluate expression. We can check memory view. We can check what do we have in our console, and of course we can resume our program like this one. And as a result, so we are just somewhere else, right? And can we check where we are in terms of our result? Okay, it's hello world, right? So it works. So we also have a debugger integrated with RustRover, fully featured debugger. You can do a lot of stuff using it. Now let's get back to this pie chart. We've talked a little bit about coding stage, like reading code, exploring project, writing code. I've also shown you debugger that helps to do bug fixing with your projects. But we have more activities in this coding heavy part of development activities. We should say a little bit about testing, reviewing code, and documentation. Well, let's do that now. Now I'm back to this Bevy project. We have a test section here, and we are testing some implementation for linear GBA that we saw earlier. I have introduced a small error into this test suite, just in order to see what's going on if there is actual error. So what we can do in RustRover, we can run all the tests, and you can see that there are 3 tests in this section. So let's run all the tests here. And as a result, we can see that there is a problem in one of them, and 2 others are just all right. When we go to this particular test, we can clearly see which line caused an error. It is underlined right here. And we can fix it. So maybe in this case, I've just replaced 3 with 4, and as a result, we've got this error here. All right, so, well, let's put it back. It should be 3. And now what I can do, I can rewrite only failed tests. So I don't have to rewrite everything, right? And I don't have to say, well, let's try this particular test. No, only failed tests. So I'm trying to check if I fixed it, right? Rerun, and now it's fine. And only 1 test was run at this time. So if you have plenty of tests, this is extremely helpful. You don't need to rerun all of them and spend that time, okay? So if you have tests, you can run all of them. You can run all tests in your project, but you can also run one particular test, and you have all those like tweaks on how to write only some particular set of tests. Everything is also possible here. All right. So now, when we are talking about reviewing code, we usually think about going to GitHub and looking there. Like we can look at history of commits, we can look at pull requests, maybe we can comment on them, things like that. With RustRover, we have everything integrated right here. So for example, we can go to the commit history. So this is our history. We can explore branches, we can look at what was done and when, we can explore details about some particular commits. For example, here, there were some fixes and improved documentation recently in some of the components. All right, that's fine. There is a very powerful panel here, so you can specifically say what you are interested in. Like maybe, like I was recently interested in some changes about Bevel Reflect. So we can see where that stuff happened and when and why. So just part of the commits here. So for reviewing code, we have this pull requests tool window. And let's see, I will close everything that we don't need. And here we have really set of pull requests from GitHub. Like for example, this one. So we can look at all the details. There is a description and there are replies and we can even write our own, right? So you don't need to go anywhere. Everything is just here. So teamwork is extremely efficient in RustRover because we have everything integrated. You can manipulate with branches. You have very powerful merge request resolution stuff. We have so-called three-way merge window that is very helpful in resolving conflicts with your branches. So like full support for teamwork is included right here. And now I will go back to the file where I started. I think that was the main source for LibRS. Look, so here we have documentation, but we can also render it. And when we render it, we get this nice view with pictures, with examples. So it's really very helpful when you work with your code. So you can edit something in this mode, and then your changes will be immediately reflected right here. So you have a convenient tool for writing your documentation, and you have this ability to see what's going on with it, whether your changes are correct, and you also get grammar suggestions. So it's also possible here in RustRover. All right, let me recap. So RustRover is a powerful tool when it comes to your daily software development routine. So if you use Rust, then you can do everything. You get powerful code analysis, you get code completion, you get debugging, testing, documenting support. You can use AI features. So all that stuff, and also databases, web front-end technology support, HTTP client that I showed you. So we have all that stuff in RustRover. We've released it this May as a commercial product, but we made sure that it is available for everyone who is just learning Rust, who doing their own pet projects with Rust. So that's why we made it free for non-commercial use. We are always very happy about your feedback. If you have some issues, please submit them on our tracker. We are very careful about what you are writing to us, and we try to fix your issues all the time. So thank you very much for using RustRover. Thank you very much for listening, and use RustRover. Focus on what matters.